It's time for Media Meltdowns, and TDS-suffering Hollywood celebrities are going crazy. Jane Fonda has come up with a not-so-original attack against the president, saying that he's a threat to democracy, while calling on Hollywood creatives to push back against him.
He is amassing power in a way that will destroy our democracy. And so we're going to stand up. You know, we're creatives, we're storytellers. We can do it creatively. We can have a good time while we do it. But we want to push back, and we want to model what creative, nonviolent, non-cooperation looks like. That doesn't mean just showing up for people who are under attack, like Jimmy Kimmel. A lot of us signed that ACLU statement protesting what happened to Jimmy Kimmel. But we want to also, we want to be proactive.
I mean, what happened to Jimmy Kimmel? He was suspended for a few days. It was not the end of free speech. And days after Jimmy Kimmel was back on air pretending to cry about Charlie Kirk for the first time ever and refusing to apologise to his family for lying about the murder, Jimmy Kimmel was all smiles with Colbert.
I mean, that son of a you know, is really unbelievable.
Mr. Son of a
I mean,
Mr. Son of a
His royal... Yes, yeah, no, I never imagined that we'd ever have a president like this, and I hope we don't ever have another president like this again. I mean, I never even imagined there would ever be a situation in which the president of our country was celebrating hundreds of Americans losing their jobs. There's somebody who took pleasure in that. That, to me, is the absolute opposite of what a leader of this country is supposed to be.
Actress Cynthia Nixon has shared with the world some of the things that she loves, and they include socialist New York City mayoral candidate Zoran Mamdani, gender-neutral bathrooms, and a free Palestine. And actress Emma Watson has had a lot to say on the podcast episode she did with Jay Shetty. Not only did she open up on her public feud with J.K. Rowling, she spoke about her opinion of marriage and went so far to say that the pressure on young people to get married is violence and cruelty.
But there are some parts that, like, I was really still teasing out and figuring out. And I think it's such a violence and it's such a cruelty on people, and especially young people, I think, and especially women, to make them feel like they have no worth or like they haven't succeeded yet in life because they haven't forced to its culmination something that I just don't think can or should ever be forced.
Yeah, adults in the US are free to choose to marry or not, and as we know, marriage rates are significantly declining, so is the birth rate. And hearing Emma Watson just makes me miss hearing from the late Charlie Kirk, who would advocate for young people to get married and have a family. And I wonder if this is what Emma means by the cruel pressure that young people are facing.
Having children is more important than having a good career. I have 2 kids. I also have an amazingly blessed career. Our podcast is doing great, but my kids matter way more than how many social media followers that I have. And I would also tell young ladies, you can always go back to your career later, that there is a window where you primarily should pursue marriage and having children, and that is a beautiful thing. This is not about shaming. It's not about ridiculing. It's not about moralizing. It's about lifting up what is beautiful. And by the way, when we look at the mental health data, young women are not okay. Half, that is right, half of liberal white women say that they have some form of mental health issue that has been diagnosed by a doctor. What is the #1 thing that mental health professionals will tell you when it comes to mental health issues? Loneliness does not help. So maybe we should solve the loneliness epidemic by encouraging young ladies to get married and have children. It's good for them, it's good for America, and it's good for our future.
Joining us now is skynews.com.au columnist Louise Roberts. Louise, thank you so much for your time.
Great to see you, Gabriella.
Oh my gosh, listening to Charlie Kirk, you know, isn't he just brilliant? Brings
Voice
back
of
some
reason.
common sense. And then you listen to Emma Watson. I mean, violence and cruelty, it's a bit extreme, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. And who are these young people feeling pressured to get married? Who are these young women who feel they have no worth in life unless they are married? I mean, introduce me to them and I'll have a chat to them. This is crazy. But this is all those celebrities that you featured previously, so Jane Fonda and Cynthia Nixon, they've all got the same privileged problem. It's very easy to say these things when you're rich and famous. Now, in Emma's case, when she's saying that she's trying to conflate marriage with violence, that's so wrong. I mean, if she's got a problem with marriage, she should go after young girls who are forced into marriages when they're 8 or 10 years old, forced to marry 60-year-old men.
Does happen.
That's where she should be putting her energy and her profile and helping those poor young women in that case, not the average young woman who's thinking, I would like to marry my my boyfriend and I would like to have children one day, I would like to marry my girlfriend, I'd like to have children one day, whatever the situation is, and they feel comfortable in creating a family unit, which, as Charlie illustrated so perfectly, is the core of stability in society, but it's the first thing that always comes under attack by these Hollywood elites.
Always. That's why we really miss voices like Charlie Kirk. They are so valuable in this space when you've just got these Hollywood celebrities clearly pushing some agenda. But speaking of marriages, of course, not all of them last, and Nicole Kidman has made her first public appearance just days after filing for divorce from Keith Urban. Now, she presented Taylor Sheridan with the Award of Inspiration at a gala in Dallas, and of course, Keith Urban returned to the stage in Pennsylvania last week as well as his tour continued. And Nicole Kidman has stepped out again with her daughters at the Chanel Spring Fashion Show during Paris Fashion Week. Is that right?
I saw that. She did. And she looked serene, and obviously it was a commitment she had agreed to before the breakup of her marriage was announced, same as the AIDS gala in the US that she went along to, and it just shows what a class act she is. She's not going to let down a sponsor or a charity and hide behind, you know, a very crushing personal situation, obviously. The rest of us would be sitting on the sofa with a tub of Haagen-Dazs, you know, rewatching our wedding videos, but Nicole's not that person. She's very aware of the responsibilities she has as a celebrity and to people who expect her to turn up and show up and actually be there for the brand when none of us really expected to, but she does it, and she's a total professional, and I have nothing but admiration for her. I think Keith is obviously going through his own situation as well, and who really knows if there is another woman on the scene. We don't have any proof of that either way, but you see Nicole keeping on and just maintaining that public appearance with her daughters, which is just remarkable.
And Meghan Markle made her Paris Fashion Week debut, and there was this awkward interaction with the Balenciaga creative director. Let's look at this. It's so cringe to watch, isn't it? So awkward. But fans are slamming Meghan for this, calling her the Duchess of Hypocrisy for attending Balenciaga's show, seeing as there was a lot of controversy around this brand and an ad that was seen as quite creepy that involved children.
That's right. So the ads were very creepy. They were offensive, actually, more than creepy, I think. And they were children posing with teddy bears in bondage gear. And Balenciaga's brand was in the toilet almost overnight, really. Yeah. The problem for Meghan in going to a show, even if there is a new creative director she's very, pally with, is that one of her brands is protecting children in the online space. So how do you front up at a fashion show dressed all in white, irony noted, the international colour of innocence? How do you turn up to that show knowing that the brand has this terrible history in the way they've portrayed children with adult themes? And so the Duchess of Hypocrisy, I think is a pretty valid label to attach here.
And she's also, of course, been taking to Instagram, as she always does, sharing lots of pictures. And she posted a story of herself in a limo with her feet up near the Parisian tunnel where Princess Diana tragically died in 1997. Now, what are your thoughts around this? It seems pretty insensitive.
Oh, it is. And to me, it speaks to Meghan's Diana fetish, that if there's ever an occasion for her to pull something out of Diana's history and rev it up in 2025 style to make herself feel relevant, she'll do it. And we all know the single most catastrophic and traumatic event of Harry's life is losing his mother when he was 12, when she was killed in a Paris car crash. So for her to be swanning around in the back of a limousine with her feet up, oh so casual, on social media, not thinking that would have some impact on her husband, or that people would not have the reaction that we've got now, which is completely tone deaf, insensitive, tactless and everything. I mean, if she wanted to make her mark in Paris, why doesn't she go quietly to the hospital and the staff who tried for 2 hours to save Diana's life back in 1997 and give them a quiet donation for their services? That would be a really
many ways that she could do it.
such a classy way to do it, but no, she's got to jam that privilege down our throats by, you know, driving around in a limousine past the bridge or nearly at the bridge where her late mother-in-law lost her life. It's
unbelievable.
Just appalling.
Now, Prince William, it seems that he has broken his silence on the rift with his brother, Prince Harry. So he sat down with comedian Eugene Levy for an episode of The Reluctant Traveller, where he spoke pretty openly about managing family pressures. Listen to this.
Yeah, I think stuff to do with family overwhelms me quite a bit. You know, worry or stress around family side of things, that does overwhelm me quite a bit. But in terms of, you know, doing the job and things like that, I don't feel too overwhelmed by that. Not now, anyway. When I was younger, yeah, there are bits that overwhelm you, and a bit like, whoa, are we actually doing this? Is this sort of happening? But with time and age, I think you feel a bit more settled in that side of things, and you go, actually, I could do that.
So it's interesting, he didn't say Harry's name, but he certainly seemed to allude to that rift with his brother, do you think?
Certainly does, yes. And I got a hint he was probably talking about Charles's rift with Harry as well. And just the dynamic between the two brothers and their dad has just been changed forever. And he's obviously still having to navigate that. But what I also thought was interesting is he's not dwelling on resentment. He's not bitter. If you sort of imagine Harry doing this sort of interview, he'd be very sort of narky and bitter, whereas William's like, I've dealt with it, it has been overwhelming. The fact that he's so refreshing and honest about that, I think, is fabulous for someone who's next in line for the throne. And he's looking for a course of leadership which is based in empathy, I think, as well. So he's very relatable. You sort of watch that thinking, yeah, we'll probably have a bit of family dynamic ourselves at home, although not at that sort of regal level.
Yes.
And the fact that he's sort of being so authentic about that, I thought was fabulous.
Yeah, I think so as well. Now, Prince William and Princess Catherine are heading for their forever home, and it's been revealed that authorities have had to seal off previously publicly accessible land around this lodge to create this exclusion zone. Trespassers who breach the area could end up in handcuffs, and of course there's certain CCTV cameras and wiring that have been installed behind the house. So a lot of security, Louise.
Yeah, look, I think anyone shouldn't be upset with this level of security. There's plenty of other places you can walk around near royal residences without actually invading their space. And I think it's not about privilege, it's about protection. We're looking at a home situation where we have 2 future monarchs living there. So any security, I think, is justifiable. And this is the reality of being in the monarchy in the modern age, that they need that level of security.
Louise Roberts, thank you so much for your time. Great to speak with you.